Hello, welcome to week 6. If you're watching this video, it means that you will be or you were absent on a synchronous day, a live Zoom day. So that's why you're going to be watching this, to see what you missed. And again, if these videos are just not your thing and you would rather be in a Zoom call, you can always let me know and I can give you the link for it would be your asynchronous day, but I have classes on those days as well, and we're doing the same thing that you would do the day prior. So if that's a better way for you to understand the material, just let me know and then we can figure it out. But otherwise, welcome to our week 6 absent video. If you were absent, you're watching this. So here's our agenda for this week. It's going to be a lot of practice, a lot of just hands-on analyzing poetry. We have the Google Slides as normal. They're the ones you're viewing right now. You will do your written work through these slides and submit them back to me. And then we have a poem. It's called Janitor, and you are going to be doing some annotations, which means you're going to be marking the text, highlighting, making notes. It's for paraphrasing. And this is going to be it's outside of the Google Slides. It's going to be in a Google Doc that you will, just like the slides, you'll be able to click on it and it'll automatically create a copy for you that you can edit and submit back to me. So that is going to be something that you, in addition to the slides, are going to submit. And if you are doing honors credit, if that is something you are interested in, you've either communicated it to me already and you were part of those meetings we had a couple weeks ago, or maybe you're brand new and you're like, hey, I want to join this. I want to do this. Honors options are going to be slides 19 through 21. I've made it very clear in the slides which ones are honors, so if that pertains to you, you need to complete those slides. If not, you do not. If you have confusion about that, just let me know and I can help you. Also, don't forget, we have the part 3 Google poetry slides that were from last week. Those will be due this week on Friday, as well as the check-in post to kind of help me see where you're at and how you're doing. So that is this week. And I want to take a moment to just say something that I hope will bring you comfort as you are trying to become a better poet yourself in terms of writing, but also analyzing poetry. When you are analyzing poetry, I like to think about it like this. You need to take into consideration your perspective, the poem itself that you're reading, the author's intent, what message are they trying to get across in their poem, and how that all equates to being your interpretation of it. Because a lot of times interpreting and analyzing poetry can be intimidating when we feel like we're scared to say what we're thinking because we just think that we might be wrong. And yes, there technically is such a thing as a wrong answer when you're interpreting poetry, but that's only if you are just going way off topic and you're not at all, like if the poem you're reading is talking about the author's grandmother and how she was important in her life when she was growing up, you're not going to talk about aliens in your interpretation because that's totally off topic. It's not anywhere near what's going on in the poem. So that's the note about author's intent. But I want you to take in consideration that you are a unique person. You have lived a life that no one else has lived before. You see the world in a way that no one else will, because everybody is unique and different, and we've all grown up in life in just different circumstances, and that's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be like worried about. It's something to be proud of because it helps you with your perspective and how you view life, and in this case and in this class, it's how you view poetry. So I want you to be aware of that. If somebody brings up a point in the poem and you're reading the same poem and it's different than what you got, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong or that they're wrong. It just means that they have maybe they thought of something because their perspective is different, because they've grown up differently than you have, or something like that. So I hope that's not confusing. I just wanted to let you know that you do not need to be afraid about being wrong. As long as you're on topic, you will not be wrong in your interpretation of poetry. You just got to use your best insight, your best observational skills, and all the things that we've learned about and all the skills we've gained. So that's my message for today. Okay, we are going to practice writing ourselves. So we've learned about figurative language and poetic devices and how they can really just make the meaning of something way more deep and insightful and more creative. And you all have voiced to me that you're getting more comfortable with learning those things, but writing them yourselves is kind of frustrating or just intimidating. So we're going to have some practice because you are going to end up writing your own poem. So we want to just provide some small steps to get there. So what's going to happen, you are going to, this is a writing prompt. You're going to describe your sibling, or if you'd rather talk about your friend, a friend, and you're going to do so using a simile. So I have an example for you, and I chose my sister. When my sister is driving, she is like a puppy let off a leash. She doesn't know where she's going, but she's excited to go fast. So I used a simile. She is like a puppy to describe how when my sister's driving, she likes to drive really fast. That's all there is to it. You just need to come up with one line. If you want to expand upon it, you totally can, but you just need to describe your sibling or a friend using a simile. So that's an example to model, and I'm going to have you write your example here. So go ahead and pause this video and think about that and come up with your example, and we'll keep going. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So this is a little different because you're not in a Zoom call right now. This is a recorded video, but by the end of what would have been your Zoom call, you will have the figurative language writing prompt slide, which is the one I just showed you about creating a simile. That will be complete, and then our tools slide will be complete. We're looking at a new poem. So these are the two things that will be finished by the end of the Zoom call. And on your asynchronous day, the day that we're not together, you need to complete these three things, because in order for us to have a successful Zoom call for your second day this week, we have to have these things completed. And I will show you again what I mean, but this is just kind of a reminder list for you. So if you haven't already, you need to go into modules under week 6, and you're going to click on the janitor poem assignment. It's going to bring something that looks like this up, and you're going to click right here where it says one file, and you're going to click on that file because it will open up a Google Doc with the poem in it, and this will be your own copy of the poem. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so if you were in our Zoom call today, Miss Hunt was going to show, or she did, a quick little demo on how to get the Google Highlighter tool. This is an extension, an add-on that you will click and download and insert into your Google Docs. Many of you have already done this before. If you were in Haas class with me last year, you definitely did it. And if this is new to you, what you can do is click on this up here, the Google Highlighter tool, the title, and it'll bring you to a quick YouTube video that'll show you how to download it and how to use it. So if this is a new feature for you, please go here and watch this video and then come back. Okay, now that we have our highlighter tool installed and ready to go, you are going to create your highlighter tool library, and this is what it needs. You need to make it basically look just like this. So it has to have simile and metaphor. You're going to put them together. Tone and mood is also going to be together. Idiom, hyperbole, imagery, personification, symbolism, and repetition. So it should look like this. If you want to change the colors, you totally can, but you need to make sure that they are different from one another so that you don't get symbolism, repetition mixed up. If you're going to pick green, pick a lighter green and a darker green. So you're going to create your highlighter library right now in that Google Doc, matching this. This needs to be in your list. Okay, now that we are all set to go, we've got our highlighter library ready to go, we are going to use the Big 6. And what's going to happen is we are going to look at 3 of them all together, and then the other 3 are going to be an honors extension option. So this is our poem. It is called Janitor by Bobby Lefebvre, And what you're going to do, because we're not in a live Zoom call right now, you're going to play this video. And I want you to, as you're listening to it, look at the Google Doc because that has the transcript of his poem written out. So you're going to just listen to it once, just to listen to it as you're reading along on the Google Doc. And then you're going to do it again. And when you do it the second time, you're going to keep in mind, you're going to keep in mind this slide because these are the questions we're going to answer. So what poetic devices are used, how most frequently, what tools repeat or create a consistent image, what's the most powerful figurative language tool. So this is what you're going to do after you watch it a second time and listen to it and read it a second time. So go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you have finished watching that video and listening to it and reading it as along with the Google Doc, you're going to answer these questions. And I think what would be helpful for you is if you go to your Google Doc and instead of just trying to list what you can remember, this is where this is going to come in handy. This tool will also help you with paraphrasing, but this is going to help you with the tools section of the Big Six. So anytime you find a metaphor or simile, you're going to highlight it. So like, let's say, for example, right here, she wears pride like Prada. That's a simile. So I'm going to highlight it. So that's all you do. You highlight the line like that, and then you click on whatever it is, and it'll automatically bring that up for you. So I'm going to undo that because this is a blank copy. But you're going to go through and you're going to try to identify all of the tools that you can: metaphor, simile, tone and mood, idiom, hyperbole, imagery, personification. I almost said procrastination. Wrong one. Repetition and symbolism. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so if you were in our Zoom call, this is where the Zoom call would have stopped, but this is what you're going to do before the next Zoom call. So before that happens, you need to complete these next two slides on your own. Because once again, if you do not do that, our next Zoom call, which would be either Thursday or Friday, is not going to be a very great experience for you because we're going to be talking about these slides that you're going to be doing on your own at that time. So it's homework, even though you're at home all the time. You're going to work on paraphrasing. I want to say for this section, I would go stanza by stanza because it's a longer poem. And what you're going to do is this. Instead of writing your whole paraphrase out in this little tiny section, you are going to do this. You're going to highlight this section and you're going to add a comment and you're going to type your paraphrase right here and then hit comment because this will allow you to kind of keep it organized and clean and not put everything in the slide. So again, for paraphrasing, you're going to go stanza by stanza and you're going to highlight the whole thing and you're going to click comment and you're going to type your paraphrase right here and then hit comment once you're done. And then you can come back and answer these questions because these are things you can answer just in this little space right here. And theme. What are the big universal ideas addressed in the poem? How are they presented? Again, after you've done your paraphrase and all the highlights with the tools, you will easily be able to answer these questions because you're going to be thinking about it already. So these need to be completed before our next Zoom call. Okay, this is day 2 of our synchronous call. Another writing prompt for you. You are going to work on using personification. So I want you to describe an object in your room using personification. So when I came up with my example, my hydro flask was sitting on my desk, and I decided to write, after thinking about it for a second, my hydro flask dove off my desk onto the carpeted floor like an Olympic swimmer diving into a pool. So remember, personification is when you're taking an inanimate object, like a water bottle, hydro flask, and you're describing it as if it has human, lively characteristics or abilities. So my water bottle didn't literally dive off my desk because it's not a person, it's not a living being, but I describe it like that to give some imagery. So you're going to write your example here. Go ahead and pause this video and think and do that. All right, time to review your homework. This is going to be not really something you're going to do if you're watching this video and if you were not in our call because for Thursday and Friday, because there's no one else to review it with. So you can do that on your own. Okay, let me explain this. These are the honors credit options. So if you are not interested in doing honors, you don't need to worry about the rest of these slides. But if you are, if that is your goal, if you want honors credit, you need to complete these next 3 slides. So with the same poem, the janitor poem, you've already done half the work and you're going to do the rest if this is honors and if it applies to you. So you're going to answer these questions about the title. You're going to do speaker, and you're also going to look at turns if there is any. So again, that's only honors, only applies to people interested in honors credit. Okay, that's it. So you need to make sure that you submit these Google Slides in addition to your janitor poem Google Doc. Both of them will be counted. So there we go. If you have any questions, you can ask me and I will help you.